And my name is Nelson, and I come from the overseas department and in the PoC marketing team. Okay, so today our topic is the Hytera PoC solutions. Okay, so here is our agenda, and actually in today's seminar we divided into mainly 4 parts. And okay, we have the first part of the overview of this PoC solution, and then for the second part we will take a deep view of what we are going to provide with the terminals and with the platforms, and what's about the challenge. Of course, the second part will be our main course today. Okay, and afterwards we will share with you our Hytera's global presence there, and we will take a look at maybe our some projects with our customers or our partners. And at last, we will have a little time or some time to discuss with you why we are choosing Hytera as the partners to develop this PoC service or PoC business together. Okay, so the first part, let's begin for the first part. So here we still want to take a little bit time to look back into the PMR development history. Why we are doing this? Because you know that the PoC is actually kind of walkie-talkie ways since the, let's say, since the early beginning of 1990s, right? So we have, at that time, we are when we are talking about the walkie-talkie, it's like the when you push and you can get instant connections with your group members, and your voice can be heard by everyone in the group. So this is like a walkie-talkie way. And afterwards, it's developed into the digital era, which is mean add some narrowband and you know, some other GPS information here, so you can do the dispatching services. And last, we have the LTE network ready for us bring more broadband capabilities here. So this is mean that actually we are developing the walkie-talkie ways from the past customers. Okay, so you might be wondering that where is exactly our customers? And later on, we will give you some slides to explain. Actually, our customer will just remain the same, like the PMR customer, because we are very familiar with their habits and their working environments. So, okay, so let's first take a look at what's exactly of this PoC it is. So the PoC is the abbreviation of this Push-to-Talk-over-Cellular. So we can see actually it has one distinctive, let's say, prominent feature, which is the PTT, right? So the PTT is still remain the same, like the old times, the PMR, the walkie-talkie ways. But at the same time, this PTT is based not anymore on the narrowband infrastructure. I mean, in the old times, it's like, not old times, but actually it's recent time. We have the DMR still there. We have the Tetra still there, right? But now our push-to-talk services is based on the cellular network, which is mean the operator's network. So we take all of the advantage of the operator network, including the good bandwidth, including the nationwide coverage, and of course it's the broadband capability, like the video or the multimedia data here. So we want to say that our capability is built based on the operators. So we are very reliable to the operators' network infrastructures. So from the history and with the understanding of the PoC concept, so we now take these slides to look at where is exactly our customers. So the customer will remain the same area like the previous PMR. So we have the industry customers like listed here, the public safety, okay, and also for the city management, and maybe for the supermarkets, and also maybe for the hotel and the hospitality. We have all of these vertical markets to list all of these customers included in the business and the enterprise. So this is exactly what we have served in the PMR time. I mean, in the digital times. But now we're going to provide the same PTT services to them, but based on the operator's architecture or operator's network, right? Then here we are giving some examples of And the other scenario is that we all know that the coronavirus is, it's like a pandemic in the globally. And now every country will facing the threats of this COVID-19. And we have the PoC terminals, which can help us to build up the instant communication, and we can do the remote diagnose or treatment by our doctors, not having the contact with the patient. So this means to quarantine the patient, but at the same time protect our doctors and the medical resources. And of course, one of the most important things is trying to detect the patient or recognize the patient from the crowd. So we have the temperature detection solution, which is exactly to meet this kind of scenario. So basically speaking, that we have all kinds of possibilities to meet all kinds of customer requirements from our industries. Okay. But here we still want to discuss a little bit more about what's the problems or challenge previously in the PMR customers they will face. For example, normally they need to apply for the frequency band, but sometimes it's not so sufficient of the frequency resources. So maybe they cannot get approval from the government or from the government. So sometimes they also cannot have enough money. They are very limited on the budget, and of course they at the same time they still want the data application. They still want a very good coverage, and also the great capacities. So here they have facing a lot of problems. We showed here, including budget coverage, capacity problems, and what we can do with our PoC services. So our PoC is the exactly wonderful solutions for them to solve the problems, because we do not because we are based on the operators infrastructure. This is mean that we will not apply any frequency resources with the regulator, right? So, but at the same time, we get the benefits or advantage of the operators network, such as nationwide mobility, and you don't have any limitations of the capacity, and you don't need to deploy your infrastructure like the base stations again, because the operators network is already there, and you can take use of it. So this is mean the benefits that we can have. We can solve the problems of the all above mentioned deficient money, and maybe the coverage is not enough by the PMR or the DMR or Tetra Tech network, and you don't need to set up again your infrastructure like the base stations. This is from one of the analysis organization. The name is Persistent in the USA. So they have made this analysis report to testify that actually for the PoC market, it reaches about 3.5 billion in 2019. And it grows very steadily with about 10% growth rate per year. So this is mean a very promising market and a very profitable market for the operators or for the manufacturer to participate. And on the right side, it just to give some of the PoC market size of the South Asia. And of course, we have the other parts of the market reports. And if you want, we can share with you as well. So basically speaking, that we have this promising market, and because we are supposed to have this 3.5 billion market, which we can calculate a little bit to map it into how many units of the terminals. So we have an estimation that in the 2019, we have in the global wide, we have the market size of like 10 million units of the terminals. So this is one of the conclusion that the PoC market is very promising there, and it's the increasement of this market is also rapid. It's very, very quick. So now we continue with the second part. So in this part, basically, we will have three sections. So first, we will still want to look at what's the exactly challenge and the requirements from our, let's say previously we have talked about the vertical market. from our customers' perspective. And then we will take a look at what Hytera can provide you with the PoC terminals, I mean the radios, right? And afterwards, we will, together, we will take a look at what the platform architecture it is and what's the requirements of the hardware and the features they can provide it. And last, I think we will have something like the scenario for you to understanding how we to utilize the PoC solutions with our customers. So we have one scenario. It's like a practice. So we can trying to experience how we to utilize our PoC solutions over there. Okay, so let's begin with the first section. So imagine the environment, one of the scenario, because we have so many customers listed, like because we have, for example, the logistic and the city management and lots of like hospitality and you know, sometime it may be the public safety department, like the police, they will also use our solutions. So this is mean a group of people, they need to communicate instantly, right? So this is the first point. And the second point is that normally they will use it in the outdoor environment. Outdoor is means it will be very noisy and it will be sometimes very wet. I mean, for the rainy days and you have a lot of water, maybe you need to have the waterproof, correct? And of course, sometimes because the outdoor environment is not so nice like the indoor environment. So sometimes it's dusty and you need to have the anti-dust proof as well. So this is mean we have a lot of challenge out there. And sometimes maybe one of you, because I think you are not absent, you are not ignorance of the PoC concept. You may sometimes propose or argue why we are not using a smartphone. I can also install the apps on my smartphone and it's the same. So here we can see some of the reasons behind. So the first one that is that when you are using, we give an example of how to use the smartphone of these PoC services if you want to use the smartphone. So the first step, you need to turn on screen and then to unlock the screen and then to find this app and open the app and then you will start to talk, right? So maybe it has a simulation button over there and you push and you can talk, but it already passed so many times, like 5 to 6 seconds to find this app and start to talk. So this is mean the complex operations over there. And of course, because the smartphone, normally they will have a built inside the speaker, but this speaker is the rated power of the smartphone is normally less than 1 watts. This is mean that you cannot hear it very clearly if you are in the outdoor environment, right? Remember that we supposed to use our terminals in the outdoor environment. So the audio quality is a very crucial element in our PoC services. And the third thing is that normally the smartphone, because you have a very big screen and you are always using the applications with this screen, and normally the battery will run out very easily, and you cannot support more than, let's say, 6 hours. But at least in outdoors, at least we need about 8, even we need to 12 or even 24 hours for the working time. And the last one we want to mention, because normally for the smartphone, it has the big screen, and we will have the vulnerability of the fragile screen. Normally, if you drop to the ground, it will be easily broken off the screen. So it's not very reliable if you are talking about the workforces in the outdoor environment. So it cannot survive for the outdoor environment, correct? So this is the challenge which the smartphone cannot meet. So we will see in the following slides how we to manage this kind of challenge, how we to design our phone to meet this kind of requirements. So the first one, challenge about or requirements coming from the old walkie-talkie way is the instant communication. This is mean we do not want to dial any numbers. So if I push the button, I need to get instant connections with my group members. So my orders or instructions can be passed to my group members immediately. So this is mean the push to talk without any time of dialing. Because in the mission critical cases or mission critical usage, that normally time means life, the time means money. This means the time means everything for the mission critical users. So we do not want to dial some numbers and to wait for somebody to pick up. So this is why we need of this PTT button on our terminals. Okay, so this is the first point of the instant communication. And the second one is that because normally in the mission critical scenario, sometimes maybe will happen and you want to send an alarm to the center. And this time to protect your own life or maybe some to report some very emergency. So here is the emergency button that we need to provide with the terminal. So this is why we present this emergency button in our terminals. Okay, so this is another aspect of the mission critical requirements because it needs the emergency button for you to handle the emergency when you come into some very dangerous or sometimes it's life concerning problems. Help us to protect our lone workers. And the third thing is that because we are using it in the outdoor environment, and if you are talking about the outdoor, from these pictures that we understand, sometimes maybe the construction area, and sometimes maybe in the disco, and in the supermarket, it's a lot of people there, and you cannot hear very clearly. So in our terminals, we should present or design these audio features. If we are in a very noisy environment, we should still hear our we should still hear our group voice very clearly. Like here we can see that we put 2 watts audio power with the speaker. So this is mean that we can provide about 125 loudness for the speakers. So this is mean because in the outdoor environment, normally, for example, in the disco, we have about 100 dB there. So if you are using the normal smartphone, you cannot hear very clearly. Okay, so this is about the speaker. And another way is about the, because we have already talked about the hearing problem, and now we turn to the speaking problem. So in the noisy environment, we are supposed that our voice cannot be passed very clearly. So how we cancel the background noise, this is also very crucial for us to design the PoC terminals to have the dual mic noise cancellation here. So this is mean not only we are hearing it very clearly, but at the same time we are speaking it and the other person, the picking up party, it will hear us very clearly about the commands or the instructions with our PoC services. Okay. And the third point is about the rugged and the durabilities of our terminals. So here we have shown you one of the reports that is showing the dropping of the device. Take the reasons of the about 70% of the damage reasons of device failure reasons, because they are dropping device and the screen is crashing, right? So here we are supposed to solve this kind of problem, and all of Hytera's terminals should pass the military standards and with the job test. So this job test means 26 jobs from 1.2 meter higher. This is one, and sometimes they might need to pass the test of 1.5 meters. So this is the first thing that we need to have a very durable glass protection of the screen. So the second thing is that we need to have the proof of the anti-water or the anti-dust features. Let's say the dust proof or the waterproof. So we need to pass the IP level, like the ingression level 68, ingression protection 68, or other, sometimes we can say that's the 67 or 68 level. So here, Another thing that I want to mention is that about the screen, because we have many bar types terminal, and also we have the big screen ones. For the big screen one, we are using the Gorilla Glass, which is scratching resistant and durable glass production from Corning. And you know, Corning company, they have this Gorilla Glass for 6 levels, and we are the 3rd level here. Gorilla Glass level 3. And the last thing we want to mention is about the workforce outdoor working habits. So normally they will want the features of the backup batteries. So this means the battery should be attachable or very easy. You can have a backup battery to install on the machine, on the device. So this is the first thing. And the second thing is that the capacity of the battery. So normally with the duty cycle of this 5590, which is mean 5 emissions, 5 receiving, and the 90 seconds for the idles. So this kind of cycle, maybe the worker will need to have at least 8 hours for working, and normally 8 hours, but sometimes maybe they want to extend it to 24 hours. So in the later slides, you can see in our parameters or the indices of our terminals, you can see all of our terminals one of the terminals can support 24 hours, and the other series of terminals can meet the requirements of the capacity requirements, capacity of the battery. Okay, so this is the first point. And the second point here is that normally in the workforce, is the requirements of the accessory is also a mandatory item there. So sometimes in the outdoor environment, normally they will have the requirements of this belt clip or the earpiece. In a recent report by the IHS, they listed the accessory of the PMR radio or the PoC terminals. The accessory has also taken about 1/5 of the market share of there. So this part, Hytera has the capability to provide all kinds of adapted accessory for the terminals. So this is also one of our advantage over the other vendors. And the third thing is that normally with the working habits, they do not want to use the line to charge the device. So normally they will want to have the desktop type charger. So this is why we put the third point here, the desktop charger. For example, we provide all the terminals with a single unit or the multi-unit charger. And the last thing is that because we are outdoor environment, so we need to have to support our the wet hand or the glove operation of there. So totally, it's 4 points of the working habits. So these working habits, we need to have we need to design our products according to this kind of habits and to have the corresponding feature or device to help them to enjoy the working outside. So let's make a conclusion here. So why we need the dedicated PoC terminals? So we have the following points, including the mission critical operation. The operation means the PTT is necessary to set up the instant communication between the group, and you need to report sometime the emergency by the emergency button. And then we need to have it in the outdoors with a very good audio quality. And of course, in the outdoor, this is also mean the dustproof and the waterproof, and you need to pass the military standards. You need to have pass the job testing of this 1.2 meters high. So this is altogether, it's for the workforce to working in the outdoor environment. So they have a lot of like the global habits of global operation. They need to have the backup battery. They do not want to use the line of the recharge. So all of these factors we need to consider into our PoC terminals designs. So this is our first section of the challenges and requirements of the PoC terminals. And in the following slides, we will take a quick browsing of what terminals Hytera can provide. Cover the back cover, and then you put the battery here. So this is one very tiny design or very trifle things. but this is also testified that Hytera has many years of experience, and we already noticed this kind of details, and we implement into our terminal design. And of course, we have a lot of ergonomic design with the curved edge and the anti-slip texture. Okay, here we want to say about the 370, because normally for the terminals, we are supposed to have three concepts in mind, or three ideas in mind. The first one will be the materials of the terminal. And the second one is about the architecture of the terminal. And the third one, it will be the outlook of the terminal. So here is the, let's say, the outlook. For the material, normally we are using the plastic, I mean the PC or the ABS or the material for our terminals. But for the architecture or for the outlook, you can always use the layout picture here to see what's exactly about the outlook, what's the buttons position, and what's exactly the some of the parameters will show up here. And of course, another things or another factor which cannot be neglected about is the accessories. So we understand that for the outdoor workforce, they normally will come up with a lot of requirements like the headsets. Sometimes maybe they will need to have the technical headsets. So we can all do our best to do the adaptations for them. So normally they will also come up with the battery as a backup battery requirements of the accessory, like this kind of requirements. So Hytera can meet all these kind of requirements with the accessory parts. So the previous one is about the PNC 370, and now it goes to the 380. One thing we want to mention here is about the PTT buttons, because we are talking about a ruggedized and the durabilities of the device. So this is mean the buttons should have experience or should pass the testing of 400,000 times. So this is the lifespan of the PTT button. And the other buttons, I think, is also the same grade. So this is mean that we have a really ruggedized and durable terminals for our customers. And again, here we propose the features of the speaker and also the dual mic, the noise canceling technology. Here you can see actually we have the speaker of this 32 millimeters round speaker inside, and we can provide about 125 dB noise. So this is mean that your voice will not be drowned in the noisy environment. So you can hear your colleagues or the group members very clearly. So this is no problem of the audio part. And of course, we are supposed to give you the best battery here. And you can see that actually for this 380 with the 4,000 mAh lithium ion rechargeable battery can support 24 hours working time. So this is very impressive numbers in the industry. Because this is according to the 5590 duty cycle, right? And then this is the ergonomic design again, and it's very similar to the previously 370. Okay, and with this slide, we understand that's actually 380. We have two types. One is the basic type, and the other is the professional type. So you can see the difference of the RAM and ROM parameters here. And of course, the professional type, the Pro type, will have the camera and the video embedded in the device. And also they can support the NFC when you want to do some patrolling solutions. It can become very useful with the patrolling solutions. And this is the accessory for the PNC 380. And you can see we have listed one table of for your quick reference of the 370 and the 380 basic and the Pro type. So you can understand what's the difference here of the three bar type device. So the most, I think the most prominent difference is that about the RAM and ROM, right? And afterwards, we have the full keypad of the 380, and you understand. And of course, here we passed the IP level, like 67. IP 67 is passed with the 380, PNC 380 model. But we should say that the 370 is still a very slim one. It's the lightest PoC terminals we have in the product family so far. Okay, now we go to the big screen guys. So this big screen ones is the model name is the PNC 550. So here we have listed some of the highlighted features here. And of course, one of the features it supports is the NFC. And of course, it can support the photo and video services. And we passed the IP68 here. Okay, this is the industrial design of the layouts. So I will not read it one by one. And I want you to take a very quick view of this picture, and then we continue. Okay, this is the specification. So I will not explain it one by one. Hope you can understand. And we will to talk about some other interesting modifications or some we have to do some upgrading of the software, and we will see on the later slides. So this is the accessory of the PNC 550, and again, we will not mention it in very detail, and I hope you can have a quick view of this. Okay, here is one slide we want to explain a little bit more about our upgrading or the optimizations. So basically, we have two versions, and for the first version, we are supposed to have the Android version supported is 8.1, but in the second version of the release version 2, we can support the Android version 9. So this is mean that we do a lot of modification on the optimization, not only in the software, but also in the hardware. Because you can see here, we have installed or built inside with the gyroscope sensors, and we support more bandwidth, right? And we adjust the USB FPC and the PMIC. The PMIC is for the power management IC. So we changed from the previous type to this one in order to implement all of the functionalities required by the Android version 9. And again, because we have a built-in gyroscope sensor here with the release version 2, and we can do the camera anti-trembling. And later on, we will show you of the how the effects it is, because we made a lot of algorithms upgrading the software, and also we need to use the gyroscope sensors here. And of course, we do some of the other optimization, like you have the dual 4G standby. This is mean when one is working and the other one will stand by, but both of them will working under the 4G mode. But if you take a careful look at your cell phone, for example, my cell phone, I have two 4G SIM cards, but if one SIM card is working in the 4G mode, if the other SIM card, it can only stand by in the 2G mode. So this is the difference, okay? Now we go to look at what's the optimization it is. So here is the image stabilization. So here we have two scenarios of the gallop and the walking, because this is like a little running, yeah, and this is like a walking. So we can see the first one is the running, because the testing environment. I should first explain to you that the testing scenario is one people will carry one wood in the chest. It's like a bar on the chest, and this bar is binded with two terminals in just one bar. Okay, so when he's running, and you can see in the left video, the trembling of the image is very obvious of there. But the left side, because we have added the gyroscope sensor, and we have optimized our algorithm inside the video, so we get a very good video here. So, and for the right side, we are talking about the working scenario. And here is the working scenario, and you can see a big difference. The left side, the image or the video is much more stable than the right side. So this is mean that we really have done a lot, because we understand that our customers sometimes will use this one to take the videos, and of course you do not want to have so many image unstabilizations over there. So here we do a lot of optimizations. And the other one is about the camera optimization. And you can see here we have 3 pictures. The left one is about without optimization, and the middle one you will see with the optimization. Sorry, I have forgotten to introduce about the testing scenario, because this is for the low illumination improvements. So this means we take while we are taking the pictures in the low light environment, we need to have a very good image quality. So we have done a lot of optimizations. We want to show you what's the exact results or the comparisons with other brands' terminals. So here is the results. And so on the left side, this is one without any optimization. Okay, and in the middle is the one with the optimization. And the last, this is a comparison machine, which is from the Caterpillar. I think you maybe know this in the field, the Caterpillar S41. So you can see actually the results here is that the brightness is the highest among the 3. But I should give you some more information, because in the normal photography we have 3 concepts. The first concept is about the sensor. The sensor's sensitivity, the ISO value, right? And the other choosing is the shutter speed and also the aperture of the camera. So here, if in the low light environment, we normally will increase the ISO value in order to have a brightened picture. But this thing is very awkward, because when you're increasing the ISO value, you will introduce a lot of noise. This is mean I think this is very simple, because when you increase the ISO value, normally you will get a brightened picture, but with a lot of visible noise points in the picture. I think you already have this experience, because when you take the pictures in the low light environment, for example, in the night, you will see the granularity of the picture is obvious, and you sometimes it has many noisy points, and sometimes it's not acceptable for the customer. Okay. Just wait me a moment. 我们这个能够展示手机吗？可以开是吧？ So here, I think normally you have this terminal, or let's say my cell phone. You can see on my cell phone, it has the ISO value, right? So this is the ISO value. I explained about this ISO value. So you can use your cell phone to get a deeper understanding of the ISO, or what's the aperture, or what's exactly the shutter speed it is. Okay, afterwards we will show you some more details about the PNC 550. And now I stopped the video sharing. Okay, so let's continue with the other introduction of the PTC 550. So the PTC 550 is the dual mode PoC handheld terminals, and actually it's two devices in one. So it means that you have not only the capability of the PoC services, and you also have the capability of the DMR, right? So this is like two terminal in one. So you can build your own interested PoC applications, and you can enjoy at the same time the DMR coverage. So this one, I think I will just give a very quick browsing here, and you can understand actually we have two devices, and you do not have multiple devices to carry with you, and it's convenient for the outdoor workers or the workforce to use it in the outdoor environment. So this is mean that you will extend your communication range because you have both of the coverage of the FTTH network and also together with the DMR network. And this is the layout of the industry design here. Of course, it can support the cameras, right? And the last one is about the specifications, and you can see actually it's keeping the same of the specifications like the PNC 550, but of course it can support. So here we want to share with you about the architecture and about the hardware requirements and also about the features that for the Hytera platform. So the first slide is trying to give you some concept of the architecture. So here we understand that the PoC platform is actually a bunch of servers at the behind. We have a PoC server, which offers you the capability of the group talking, group video, and also about the voice and video capabilities there. And of course, we have the network management system to help you to open accounts with the NMS, the network management system. So beside this, we have the server to provide you with the unified location provider server, which to provide you with the GPS information. So in this server, for example, if you need some other maps other than the Google map, you might use these servers to put your own map data up there. So it can transfer to the unified location services. And of course, we have the platform of the PoC, which is the platform of unified communication. This one is trying to give you the capability of the dispatching console, right? You have the dispatcher services, so you need to have this one. And then the last thing is about the MRPS, which is the multimedia recording and play system. So with this system, that all of the voice or the video is recorded with the MRPS server. So basically, you will have, let's say, the red block is one of the Linux server, and the blue block is one of the Windows server. So minimum, we will have 2 servers for the PoC services to running. Okay, so this is the basic idea of the architecture of our Hytera platform. And with the understanding of the architecture, we go to the features or the functionality we have with the Hytera platform. So the first functionality, of course, is the walkie-talkie functionality, right? So this is the trunking, the PTT trunking communications functionality. We need to have the private call, we need to have the group call, we need to have the emergency call, and also we need to have the priority controls of them. So this is the first one of the PTT trunking services. And of course, we need to have a command and dispatching services. So this is mean that sometimes I use the command console to do the voice dispatching or to do the video dispatching. I want to have the everybody's position understanding from the command center. So this is mean that we need to have this command and dispatching services. Besides these 2 basic services, we will have another broadband service like the video, right? So you need to have the broadband service like the multi-message service, and we need to have the video group call, video pull-up, and the video forwarding functionality to build inside with the PoC platform. Okay, so this is like 3 basic services for the terminal users to use. But at the same time, we need to manage all of the counts, like the operator count, like the dealer's count, like the direct customers count. We will explain about these different kind of roles, the operator, the dealers, and the direct customers. And of course, all of these things is directly related to our user management and the group management. So here, we have another slide to explain about the architecture of the network management system. So this is like a hierarchy architecture, because each of the, so the toppest level is the super administration. So this Hytera will give you the license to the, let's say to our customer, the root administrator. And that normally they will develop their own customer, like the different levels of dealer, right? So he need to create the different levels of dealer, and they need to also create their own direct customers. Only in the direct customer level, you will define or create your own accounts relating to the terminals. So all of the accounts is managed by the direct customer, but the direct customer is belonging to different levels of dealer. And the dealers, they will to create this kind of levelized dealers relationship here. So here it means that we have organized the account information in a hierarchy way, and in order to have different levels of dealer and different levels of the customer. So with the understanding of this concept, we now go to the different deployment mode. We have basically two different modes. One is the direct customer, because we understand that sometimes maybe when we sell to one customer, they only have the desire or requirements to organize or distribute these terminals to their own department. They do not want to sell to other distributors or dealers. So here is the direct customer deployment. We will, all of these resources on our PoC platform is belonging to one organization. So this is one important feature I want you to remember. And of course, it can be run on the private network or the external public network. So the interconnection of all users and the services and data are interconnected. So this is the ownership you should keep in mind. All of these resources, the ownership is belong to one organization. But we have another one, which is the service operating deployment. So in this time, the ownership is not always belong to one operator or one provider. So it can become, because in the previous slides, we explained to you about different levels of dealer. So now you understand that the ownership might be belongs to different levels of operator or different levels of dealers. And the different levels dealers, they create their own customers. So this is mean that the resource will belong to different levels of dealers or different levels of direct customers. Okay, so this is the most important difference of the service operating deployment and the direct customer deployment. So in this way, we can actually do like an operator, and we can sell to more distributors, help us to build a very big empire for our PoC services. So this is the idea why we developing of this service operating deployment. So it's very useful for the bigger company, and they want to have the second time sales to the other distributor or the other direct customer. It's also okay with this kind of deployment. And at last, we will show you of some pictures that we have done. I mean, with the management. I mean, the network management. So basically, we will have the operator management and the dealers management and the PO management. Because you will say that if I'm using the service operating mode, how can I deal with the distributors? So we use the PO management to distribute the credits to the dealers, different levels dealers. So they use this kind of credits to create their own account, right? And if their account, okay, so but you still can use these slides to get some idea of how to manage all of the different levels of dealer and different levels of customer. So what I should mention here is that let's go back to this one, the network management architecture. So actually we have here a super administrator, and this one will create the different levels of dealer. And this dealer will create their own customer, and this customer count they will use to create their own count related to the terminals, right? So all of these things is done by the PO management, because you need to have the license issue, and this is carefully solved by the quarter distribution from the highest level of administrator and to the level 1 dealer, level 2 dealer, and then to the direct customer. So in this way, we can manage all of the terminals count by adding more users, adding the relationships of the groups, and do the data statistics. And also we can have data and the log query with the network management system. So besides the network management, we want to show you about our Hytera app. So here, of course, you can see some of the, like this is like a group call, and it's already connected. So this is like the PTT services, and you can also see the pictures for the video services. And of course, when we are sending the multimedia message, we are using the applications as well. So you can send your pictures or share your files here. And we can use the contact list, for example, the history of the calling history, and we can use also the contact to find our private partner or to find the standby group. Because we are belonging to the group, so we can use this kind of contact list to find the group or the private user to set up a private call with them. And the last one is about the small screen version adaptation, because it's not only including the big screen one, and we are also having the small screen like the 370 and the 380. Okay, so this is the app's UI. And then we go to the dispatcher platform. So here the dispatcher, they will use the PC clients to connect to the dispatching server at the behind. I think you can remember that the dispatching server's name is the previously is that the UPC. Sorry. Okay, so with the connection to the backend server, you can enjoy the services of voice dispatching. So basically, you can have a very simple dispatching console here, help you to find your correspondence very easily. So it's a big icon here, and all of this is number is the most frequently used number you want to contact. And of course, you can trying to follow the GPS. I mean, for each kind of for each of the terminals, it has registered in your group. And of course, you will use this one to do the video dispatching services with them. And at the same time, you can also to chat with them using the multimedia message services. So you can have all of these services with the dispatching platform. So at last, we reached these slides to have some ideas of how many terminals has already supported by our PoC platform. So one platform is about one kind of terminal is the dual mode terminal. We have the dual mode terminal of the PTC and the PTC 680, PTC 760, and PTC 760 here, supported by the PoC terminal, PoC platform. And of course, we have the bar type handheld terminal, can support the 380 and 370. And we can also support our body-wear cameras to implement our digital evidence management into our system. And of course, the biggest screen one of the PNC 550 can also be supported here. So at last, we want to mention a little bit more about the mobile device management, because we know that normally with the customer, they are not only deployed, let's say 10 pieces or 20 pieces. This is not enough. Sometimes they may maybe have hundreds or even thousands of customers, right? So this is mean the massive management of the devices must or mandatory in the system. So how we to cope with this situation? So the first thing, so this is the solution that we come up with this kind of a scenario, because for example, if you have 10,000 terminals outside, you do not want to use the manpower to do it one by one for the upgrading. So this is the first issue about our MDM solution, that for the remote firmware upgrading. So we can do it very easily by automatic upgrading for the firmware. And the second thing of this massive management of the terminal is about the applications management, because our smartphone can install lots of applications. So you do not want some of the applications, so you can block it in the blacklist. And if you have the some mandatory item, you can also install in the blacklist, the whitelist. So this is the means the application can be controlled from the multimedia, from the mobile device management solutions from us. And the third thing is about the peripherals, because our smartphone have the capability to use the camera, to use the USB interface, and to use the Wi-Fi connection, and sometimes it's the Bluetooth. So if you want to manage each of your terminals, it's very hard, but with our MDM solution, it can use these solutions to do the management of these peripherals in a batch way, okay? So this means that you can manage in a massive way to make it effective immediately. For example, if you want to ban the Wi-Fi connection of all of the terminals, you can just send a very simple command from your MDM client, and all of the terminals will connecting with the backend server and to do the upgrading automatically and to follow the instructions of compliance with the client, with the MDM's instructions. So the following terminals is supported by this MDM functionality. The PNC 550, VM 780, the body wear camera, and also the PNC 380 and the PDC 550. But with the 370, unfortunately, it's not support of the mobile device management features. So let's make some conclusion here. And here is our PoC platforms, and we are supposed to give you the instant communication with some limited possibilities, including the features of group and private calls, and including the video streaming, and including a lot of, let's say, the broadband data services, and also with the dispatching services, like the positioning of our platform. And of course, we are not only to provide with the platform, but at the same time, we are providing with you the rugged design, the device of the terminals. Okay. And at last, because in the previous slides, we talked to you about the PoC terminals and the PoC platforms. Maybe you are still not very clear about how I can use this PoC terminal or PoC platform to meet our customers' requirements. So here, we give you just one very simple scenario of the applications or the practice of how we use this PoC service to meet the requirements of the city management, okay? So this is one scenario in the city management of the sanitation inspection. So remember, we have it in the previous slides. We talked the problems of the sanitation, right? So normally we will have a command center here, and they will send up they will have the staff to they will send the staff for the sanitation inspection, okay? And this guy will come out from the building and to go to the patrol road and to do the sanitation inspection. And then he will see some illegal sewage discharging here, maybe by some, chemical industry, and they put they will put the polluted water into the river. So he will use the PNC 550 to take the high definition photos and send the videos to the command center. Of course, at the same time, it will report the GPS automatically. So this is one picture to show you that actually one electronic ticket is generated here. So it generates the reports or tickets to the command center. It will report the exact time, location, and the evidence, like the picture or the video as an evidence, and reporting all of this to the command center. And the command center, normally they will have the procedure to follow up with these electronic tickets and to give the finery for this chemical industry or the chemical factory, right? And of course, if they are refusing, they will claim that they are not doing this, and finally this sanitation department will give them the evidence, like this picture or the video as evidence, so they cannot deny the facts. So this is one of the scenario, one part of the work of the sanitation staff will do in the inspection route. And then this staff will continue and goes to the other spots, and he will find some abandoned trash here. So this abandoned trash is not belong to any enterprise or belong to anyone. So this time, the staff or the workers, he will trying to set up the connections with the garbage truck driver, because they can use the forces by the sanitation department. And this garbage truck is belong to the sanitation department. And then he used this one to take the pictures and then send this information to the truck driver. And this driver, of course, the GPS information is also reported here. So the electronic tickets also generated, and also the GPS information is passed to the truck driver, and the route is automatically guided. And the truck driver will automatically follow this guidance and to drive the garbage truck to the site to collect the abandoned trash. So this is the application or scenario that we want you to look at it, so you can understand this PoC solutions actually is very useful, because if for the narrowband, it don't have so many capabilities of the broadband services. It cannot send the videos. It cannot send, even for the image, sometimes it has the limited capability of bandwidth. So this is very helpful if you are talking about the city management. So I want you to understand this scenario. So at the same time, maybe you can expand this scenario to a lot of other vertical industrial industrial customers.